Good morning. Okies. Belinda Barker. I'm up here at the state capitol today to talk to my representative, Kevin West. Brenda's here with me today. They basically wanted to know what bills I want to talk about. Not really any of the bills, or I should say maybe it's all the bills. I don't see how you can write up 1,900 and something bills and say that you can talk about every bill. Well, Mr. West's secretary wanted to know specific ones because he would not know all the bills. So, how can you vote on a bill? You don't know nothing about it other than the good old boy system. I don't know. But I do believe he's already went into our meeting room, so we're just going to kind of go in there and see what happens.
Good morning. How are you doing? I'm doing great. How about you? A little cold out there.
Yeah, it's gonna be a pretty day though.
Yeah. And then what? Next week we're gonna turn off old Nancy again. Did you watch Mr. Groundhog today?
I didn't.
Had to
No,
watch it.
I sure didn't. I don't know what I guess they had it on the official Groundhog Day on TV, so
Yeah.
I didn't.
Yeah, I saw it. I was like, that poor little baby probably thinks, guys,
You're probably right.
figure it out on your own. You got weather technique.
What you got there, Belinda? Practicing law without a license.
Oh, I'm just reading. I put these in here so when I'm at the courthouse and filing, they always want you to pay your filing fee. Well, there's the cases that says, no, I don't. It's my case. I don't have to pay a filing fee, but they'll sure tell you you have to. But if you got this, you don't. Cleveland County knows now when I go down there, they don't require me to do anything, but they're still asking other people for it because they don't know any better. It's time to educate one another. And then you take up court cases, they'll tell you, well, do you have a bar card? Well, you can't get this or that. Well, I don't need a bar card to practice law. Whether they like it or not, I don't need one. It's already been ruled by the Supreme Court. Plenty of cases. These are things we're going to have to start educating each other on so they don't pull the wool over your eyes. So you're not out a bunch of money.
Good morning.
Good morning. How you doing?
Sorry, we got the doors.
Okay.
Good morning. Sir, how are you?
Hey, good morning. How you doing?
Doing pretty good.
Good.
It's cold outside.
It is. And we're Pennsylvania, so we're gonna get 6 more weeks of it.
I watched it on Channel 9. Watched him get that little booger up. He was probably really mad at that.
Oh, yeah.
How y'all doing? Really? Y'all got weather.
But like they said on the radio, I'm kind of impressed that he knows how to operate Zoom meetings.
Hey, I don't talk about computers. I'm not good at them or the phone.
I'm not either.
I don't even want to know. Okay. We were talking, we'd come in, I'd wanted to talk to you, you know, I'd come in a couple of years ago. Oh, who is this gentleman here?
I'm Mark Harter with the House Legal Staff.
Mark, last name?
Harter.
Be able to help with any of the.
Okay. All right, we
The
talked
specific
about the,
questions.
about stuff
Do you
on,
need this? Do you want me to pick it up?
I do.
Okay.
on David Arndt, and I talked to you also about OPP, Oklahoma Credit Prevention, and DA never has gotten back with me.
Okay.
It's been over a year. But it seems that they are correcting stuff and starting to, you know, go ahead and pop these guys on the pedophilia finally. So that's a blessing. And it's not really any certain bill I want to talk about, like, you know, when I talked to Marlene last week, there's like 1,942 bills, and I'm like, how can you really justify any of them? Because I research, and just to read one bill, it's going to take you a good week if you're going to really study to know what that bill says. So I'm like, well, if you don't know what's said in the bill, how can you justify voting yes or no on it? So, you know, to me, that's a problem. There's too many bills going on because nobody knows what the other one's doing. And especially when I read in these bills, you've got one guy on this bill, same subject, okay? And he's writing, I want to do this with this bill. This one's over here going, I don't want to do this one with this bill.
Yeah.
I think we have problems there. And I've been studying for over a year now, in law and stuff, and I know the difference between in-law and at-law and legal versus lawful, constitution to administrative. And, you know, it's come to my attention, you know, with one of the Title 28 of the U.S. Code 3002, Section 15A, it states that the United States of America is not a government, but a federal corporation, including the judicial procedural section. So now we're not a government, we're a gosh darn corporation. Now I don't like that because I don't want to go to the polls like I'm voting for Walmart or Target, a corporation with policies and procedures and such. I'm aware of that. I'm also aware that they're repugnant to we the people. Statutes, bills, codes, and stuff are administrative law, which is naval administration, admiralty law, commerce, you know, and I think we need to get back to what we the people need: constitutional law, law of the land. Right now we're law of the sea. Actually, we are. That yellow fringe around that flag is a naval flag. That shows it there, and there's plenty of documentation and evidence to prove all that. But that's one of the things that, you know, that I'm wanting to get back to, that, you know, this many bills is ridiculous because nobody's able to really study one bill and understand it. And then for we the people, if we want to write a remonstrance against that bill, it's not up online for us to be able to read that whole bill and even give us time to remonstrate, you know, and say we don't want that bill on the floor. We're not given time. And then I've seen that they're trying to change language. Now I've learned that words can mean different things. What me and you perceive to be person, when you look it up in Black's Law Dictionary, person means a whole totally different word than in the legal system, okay? Big difference. So I've come aware of that. So when I read a bill, I look for those words and I look them up in Black's and I see what they're saying, okay? But you know, we the people are not getting the chance to be able to read these bills and to, you know, remonstrance against it. And I guess another thing is that I'm seeing these constitutional bills come up. Now, a couple of them have on their ballot for we the people to vote on, and then other ones do not. And anything that's changed within that Constitution is supposed to be voted on by we the people. So I was wondering, you know, a little bit about that, look into that, because like I said, there's a couple of them that doesn't say ballot on it. It just, you know, says what the bill is and what they're going to change. Now I've run off all the ballots or anything we voted on since statehood, and I'm going to start going through those to see if, you know, legislators decide to change it and then let we the people vote on it. You know, but my deal is I want to get back to constitutional law to we the people. No more administrative bull hockey puck. I've got, I make you aware, and you probably already are aware in Cleveland County, we have 2 judges down there with no oaths of office. And we have 1 judge down there that while I was in the courtroom on a case, he stated he does not use the Constitution in his courtroom, which I'm fixing to file an affidavit for that person on their case that he stated that in the courtroom.
Which judge was that?
That Balkman. Balk. B-A-L-K-M-A-N. And Brockman and Stice are the 2 that does not have oaths of office. So now we got problems in the judicial section in our county, and I don't like that either. Because you can't, yeah, that would be Brockman and Stice. Stice is already retired out, and I think somebody told me, this is hearsay, I was in the Supreme Court because he didn't have an oath, and I guess something was going on with that. I haven't looked into that. I got too much other stuff. I'm power of attorney for a few people. That's how I found out these people did not have power of attorney. Because like I said, I started studying law and going through it. And yeah, let's get those oaths and those bonds.
Well, one thing that I will say, I don't disagree with you on the number of bills that we have filed. but, I mean, we do have 101 members, and for the members, we can only present 8 bills. I've got 17 filed. Some of them are more put out there to get a conversation started, to try and take care of it without doing legislation. And that's one really good way to do it. At least that's how I approach it. I can't speak for the other 100 members, but as to what their motivation is, so some of them you put something out there because a constituent asked for it, and then they can go back and say, well, they wouldn't hear the bill, but we got it out there, or whatever,
Right.
whatever the case may be. Really, the only 2 that don't fall under that 8 bill rule is the chairman of our appropriations and budget, and then the Speaker of the House. Now, of course, the Speaker, he can waive, like if I've already got my 8, and then I come up with something that pretty much everybody agrees on, he could waive that, but in all likelihood, he would pick up a bill. In fact, he usually files multiple bills under a whole bunch of different titles. When you were looking, you probably saw he's got like 400 and some odd. And really, that's for if something comes up, because he does have that ability to maneuver
Right.
within the system
I
that
understand
the rest of the
that.
members don't. On the Senate side, they don't have that same rule, but they are still limited to the same time frames like we are.
Right.
The end of February roughly is our deadline to get bills out of committee. Middle of March to get them off of the House floor. Same over
Well,
the Senate.
is there any way, would it come up with something where it comes out so the public is able to view that bill and be able to, file a remonstrance if they don't like the bill?
Yeah.
Because I'm seeing in here too, that they're wanting to start making it harder for we the people to petition and grievance. Make it hardest to come up here and, come against things we don't like, which I'm ready for that, but that's a whole nother thing.
Well, there are a couple of ways, and Mark can probably answer this a little better than I can, but one way that you can do it is, and it's laborious, but like on the House side, you can go to each member and then you can see how many bills they have filed
Right.
under their picture.
Mm-hmm.
And as a general rule of thumb, what we are instructed to do is to file those bills in order.
Mm-hmm.
So the first 8 that you see are probably the ones that are most likely that they're going to at least try to advance in that year. And when you click on that, it will take you to a screen where you can actually read the bill. It'll show you if there are any amendments that have been filed,
Right.
what the action has been, how many co-authors, and then you can actually read the bill. There might be an easier way to check into that, but I'm not aware.
Through the House website.
Okay, yeah, because I've been up on there.
There's a search box, a search tool.
Yeah.
So when you go to the House homepage, there'll be any number of tabs or across the top. One of them will say legislation.
Mm-hmm.
You click on that tab, and you get in the lower left-hand corner of that page. It's rather small, but it's just big enough to type in a bill number.
Okay.
And
Yeah.
it's not case sensitive, but it's space sensitive. So you put in HB, for example, 1001 all together,
Okay.
right? Or if you're searching for a joint resolution, it would be HJR and then the 4-digit number, but no spaces.
No spaces.
Right. So you have to start on the left-hand side and just straight type it. But it doesn't matter whether it's upper or lowercase, it'll find it. And then you either hit enter or a go button, and then you'll get a page that shows you the full history for that measure. So at this point in the process, Today is the day that the House assigns bills to its standing committees. We call it second reading. So if you punch in any of these numbers right this minute, it's just going to show introduced, and there will be a tab that says versions. So when you click on that tab today, the only thing you're going to see until about probably 2 or 3 o'clock this afternoon will be the introduced version. But the House will be in session shortly,
Okay.
and we'll make bill assignments, and then it'll take our IT department a little bit of time, but then eventually every one of those measures is going to get a standing committee assignment,
Right.
and you'll be able to see that on the page as well. If the bills keep moving through the process, there will be yet
Right.
more versions on the version
Right,
tab.
it's gotta go back.
But by the time you get to the end of February, this is true for both the House and the Senate, we have the same set of deadlines. If you don't see more versions of the measure after about the end of February or the first 2 or 3 days of March, that means the bill has been left in committee. It means it did not, didn't get reported out. But as the bills keep moving, if they pass the House, there'll be a version, which I expect you probably know, called the engrossed version. Then if our House bills go to the Senate and they come out of Senate committee, there'll be yet another version. If the House bill makes it off the Senate floor with changes, we call that Senate amendments to the House bill. But sometimes the House bills won't get changed by the Senate. In other words, we send them to the Senate in a complete condition and the Senate doesn't change a word. That bill, if it passes both Senate committee and the Senate floor, will become an enrolled measure and either presented to the governor for action, or if it's a constitutional amendment, it'll be filed with the Secretary of State. So you can use the House webpage to track legislation. The Senate also has a very similar, we're tied to the same system.
Right.
So you can access, I think you can access House bills while they're over in the Senate through the Senate page. Same for Senate bills through the House page.
Okay.
So those are that's the two most convenient ways that I know to tell people to track legislation
Okay. All right.
during a session.
Another thing, wording. They're wanting to do things on some of these bills that pertains to children and stuff, like getting rid of the word mother, father, and stuff.
Yeah.
Okay, when you start messing with the word mother and father, now you're messing with the creator, and you are taking it and making it where basically you're calling parents parental units, like we're some kind of space age thing, and we no longer have common law. That's what we got to get back to, is common law, because that taking out that wording of mother, father, and putting it in this administrative deal.
Yeah, and they're trying to do that
I know.
on many fronts. I've got 2 bills assigned to the committee that I'm chairman of. I'm General Government Oversight and Accountability. And I've got 2, and the 2 bills that are in my committee are, it sounds pretty nice, just removing gender terms from this point forward, but you're exactly right.
Yeah.
That gets into your mother and your father and
God and
Yeah.
everything.
So-
And we know common law supersedes even the Constitution.
yeah.
And did y'all know that as of 13 in common law, they were already found treason, espionage, human trafficking in a common law court in Indiana? I got it. Yeah, common law, and they called them all out for treason. They're supposed to be what, North Korea is where they're supposed to be stationed at.
What was it,
Oh, yeah,
2013?
you should read this thing. I'll get you one.
Now,
It's
and,
like,
and you know this very well, that on the one hand, there's a lot of that kind of stuff that, yes, it's going to be filed, but the chances of it being heard
Right.
in committee, there's a lot of steps, but that also doesn't mean
It's gonna
just
pass or
trust
anything.
us.
Yeah,
Just
yeah,
trust
yeah,
us.
I know.
We're not going to let that go through. So we definitely need people like yourself.
yeah, we gotta get back to that common law.
Yes.
Because, when you really look into all of that, I watch people go to jail for not signing a traffic ticket. Well, that's unlawful as heck. I can prove that one. But if you got stuff like that going on, I mean, that's ridiculous. Here's another thing we got going on in Cleveland County with DHS. I've already worked some cases, and like I said, that one case was the judge said he didn't practice the Constitution in there. Another one was the mother and father both paid for attorneys. That same attorney was also collected from the state on that case. And those kids were taken without a warrant. There was never charges pressed against the parents, with the police department or anything, for even DHS to even step in, much less come in and basically kidnap your children without a warrant. No officers were present with that DHS worker. You've got 180 days that DHS is supposed to, is allowed to put that child with someone else. They went over the 180 days. In fact, they went to a year, over a year. These parents complied to everything, had nothing done. I mean, I've got a whole bunch of child cases. I've got judges over in the other county, doesn't even read the case and states it there on the bench. She hadn't read it. The state stated that the mother needed mental help. The mother refused. Father, which he knows, David Arndt, he's former pastor and police officer. Judge awarded those kids to the mother. She hadn't read the case that the mother needed help, those kids. State even told him to take the kids and go back to Texas. Oh, there's a lot of hot cut going on in David Arndt's case. He just didn't realize, and I didn't either until I started studying. I didn't realize a remonstrance to go up against bills. We thought it was submit something else. So I got smart. I left David Arndt's side and went and started studying. I got to learn what's right. You know, we got to fix this because we are in a real deep hurt right now. We got judges that shouldn't be on the bench, putting people in jail that don't have both of their offices. We got kids being taken from their homes, you know, and they are all involved. They can all be proven. The evidence is there, and you know, you can't have a fact without evidence. And I'm watching in these courtrooms. The fact is, but they show no evidence. And people are not smart enough to catch this. I'm going to start educating people. I'm going to start letting them know, read it. Just like driver's license. We don't have to have driver's license. Do you work from your car? You're not in commerce, are you? No. Anybody that's not in commerce, we don't have to have a driver's license. That's all there too. I got all that. I don't need a driver's license. I'm not in commerce. I'm not working out of my car. That's only for those who do. It's all there. It's all in the federal laws. You know, you just got to look. And I'm finding most people aren't looking. You know, they just take everybody's word of mouth. Just like the news media right now. Every news station you go to from state to state saying the same thing. If it's not script written, you can kiss my hind end, because it is. This is all a big show. And it's time to get back to Constitution and common law and get out of this administrative corporation block. And that's all I'm done. Didn't come tell you because I'm going to start working and start filing stuff.
Okay.
You know, and I would love to work with you on constitutional law and stuff, and you know, letting you be aware. I know bar members know that's one of our worst problems right there is the bar.
Well, and another really good way of advocacy is, you know, once you do see a bill that catches your attention, you know, kind of like what Mark was saying.
Yeah.
You find out what committee it goes to, and then you can find out who's on that committee and
go
you know,
address it.
And,
yeah.
and address that.
It's just
all
a short
of our
period
committee
for like
meetings.
me, because nobody wants to study this stuff like I do.
All,
You know?
all of our committee meetings you can view them online, so you can hear everything that's being said, or they're open to the public. You can be here. Now you can't participate,
Right.
But you can be here, and then you know, even if the bill winds up passing out of committee, you know, then you can follow up with members and say, hey, you know, when they said this is what that bill does, that wasn't right. This is what it really does.
Right.
Know? Or vice versa.
Right.
You know?
Well, that's what I was telling her. It's just the ones that I'm really got right now, because all by myself, it's hard for me to, you know, pick and choose.
Yeah.
But they all need to be picked on because
Oh,
they
yeah.
all need to be, you know, really looked at. But yeah, you know, that's part of the problem is wording. People
Right.
don't know to look at wording, you know, and it's sad.
But yeah, I would definitely.
I'm gonna just start
recommend-
going to the person who wrote the bill, and do you understand
Yes.
what it says, and this is why, and
Right.
explain to them.
Yeah.
And Go out the law book, and this is why, this states.
Yes. And that's why I say, you know, it's a general rule. It's not hard and fast, but, you know, generally speaking, if you go to like me on the House web page, it'll show all 17 measures that I have. Well, the first 8 are the ones that are getting assigned to committees that I'm planning to run. Now, I can, next session, I can work on those other bills, and you know, if I can come up with language, or you know, there's not a way to do it through administrative rules or just people doing what's right, and I can come up with language, I can bring that bill up next year. But generally speaking, those first 8 are going to be
Right.
the ones, and that will at least narrow some of that down for you.
Right.
Also, like Mark said, once they get assigned publicly to committees, that will also give you a clue, because all of our over 8 bills, like my other 9 bills that I have, they'll all go to rules, and they'll be down at the bottom. I don't know if you guys are still using that, but it used to be signified as 8. On there.
I think the members probably actually have a better system for tracking the over 8 than we do.
Okay.
We have some software that we use. I mean, we can tell the first 8 measures the member is filed. We just count after the 8th bill, so we count those as over 8 bills. And so we expect those bills, as Representative said, to go to the Rules Committee. And it's designed to be more difficult for members to get their measures heard in the Rules Committee and to be moved from the Rules Committee to a different committee.
Right.
That's just how the system is designed, as to cut down on the number of measures that get out of our committee structure, because with some exceptions, the measures that get out of committee will be heard on the House floor. And we have, you know, of course, I know that you know this, but, you know, we start the first Monday in February, and we have to end by the last Friday in May at 5 p.m. because of our Constitution.
Right.
So that shortens a lot of the deadlines that we have, the members have. And one of the shortest deadlines in the process is the deadline for the House to get its measures from the House floor over to the Senate. We have only 2 weeks. There's only a certain amount of question time and debate time and voting time, and it can be very time consuming.
No.
Right. And so, but there's a limit. I mean, there's only so many hours in a day,
Right.
and the members are people too. They get tired, and we get hungry, and we get tired, and so there's only so much time that the House and the Senate have to get.
That's right, I don't need so many bills. So
Well, that's probably a pretty good argument against too many bills. Right.
We didn't talk about cranky.
But there are a lot of
Oh, yeah, I know
Good-
y'all the steps
good
and
ways
stuff, yeah, to go
for
about
you
it.
to follow it through the process
Oh,
as
yeah.
well, you know, and like I said, you know, don't take any of that to ever, at least from me, to ever say, oh, you know, so with all of these protections in place, you don't really have to worry about it. No, I still want to hear from you, you know.
Yeah.
If there's something, because I can't tell you how many times we've had bills come through that, you know, I look at it, because usually what I do, and not everybody does this, but most people do some version of this, I'm assigned to 4 committees. So obviously I'm reading the bills that are in those committees. And then we get the floor schedule. Once bills start becoming available to be heard on the floor, Floor Leader Eccles is really good to get us the agenda, what bills we can expect to hear tomorrow. And so then obviously I read those because those are, you know,
Right.
what's in my committee and committees and what's going to be heard on the floor are the most pressing. And then with the relationships that I have, you know, with the lady that I share an office with and other friends, you know, we're all in different committees, so we kind of get together and, hey, you know, this
Yeah.
bill come up, this one's a really good one, or this one's good, bud, or this one's a horrible bill and it got passed out, you know.
Right.
So different things like that, but I'm never ever take anything that I say to say, oh, just trust me, because you know, everybody has a different perspective. I've got a constituent, he actually lives in my neighborhood, and this was my first year in, and he called me up, and it was a Senate bill that had come over to the House, and he does victims impact panels, and there was one word in there, it was a shall instead of a may, and that was going
That's
to
a big difference.
really affect his business. And
Yeah.
he brought that to my attention, you know, and when he first approached me with it, he said, why is the legislature always trying to kill my business? I'm like, what are you talking about? You know, and he talked me through it and explained. So I was able to get with the House author, the Senate author, and we amended it, you know. So, and for me, since that wasn't a direct impact on,
Yeah, you wouldn't really know.
I don't know. I mean,
Yeah.
I read it, I've looked at it, you know, and all of this, but
Didn't realize shall and may made a big
well, I
difference.
knew shall and may made a big difference. I didn't realize what the impact would be,
Right.
because he also, what it was that you shall only do victims impact panels, and he does other counseling services through his not-for-profit. So that was the problem, you know. And he said, look, it's my passion. I would do it. But, and you probably know this, to set up a not-for-profit, to set up a for-profit corporation is nothing, you know, it's
Yeah.
like 4 pages.
Yeah.
But a not-for-profit is like a book, and, you know, it's time-consuming, all of this. He said, I would do it, but why do I have to? You know, there's no reason why I can't do these other related counseling services through this same not-for-profit. And once I pointed it out to the House and the Senate author, they were like, oh my gosh, you know, that wasn't our intention at all. So, you know, like I said, I love hearing from constituents, because, you know, when it's something that impacts you directly, you can much better explain to me why this is good or why it's not. So, you know, at least for me, you're never take it that I'm saying, just trust me on this.
Right.
Yeah, I've got this pen, so that means, you know, I'm super smart, because I'm not. But,
I need one.
but no, I appreciate hearing stuff like this, and I will get with DA Mashburn and see if we can get some kind of a meeting set up. I know his schedule. I know last time we were real close to having something set up, and he had a case, a big murder case that he was working on.
And the drug
And-
thing was going on
And the
too.
drug, and then we had one that was set up, and
Yeah,
I don't know
still.
what had happened on your
Still.
end, but you know, you said no, we don't need to meet, and
That was the day I was up here on
Yeah.
that deal, because I was going
So-
to Arndt's court case, because
Okay.
they
It was a
called him,
constitutional
yeah.
thing.
Yeah.
So, but I'll get with him. He's been very open to at least work with me. You know, unfortunately with his schedule,
Yeah.
you know, it's not like I can call him today and have a meeting set up on Friday, but we'll definitely get with that.
Well, I'm not really worried about David. I just started learning and waking up to law, because, you know, I was former law enforcement, and I've been indoctrinated badly, and it was really hard to step outside of the box and realize how bad it really is. You know, when you start reading like that Title 28, and that it's not a government, it's a corporation. Well, now, whoa, and then you do it. My instructor, my teacher was murdered in November. He was contracted through Congress, loss prevention. He was murdered in November. So I'm carrying out on the good name of bringing it back down to common law, because I mean, as we all know, setting the seats of emoluments with subsidies and stipends, and there's a little chart that's done that he's done. He was on his way to finish that, but I got it, so I'm gonna carry on and start here in our state, because we gotta get back to common law. I don't like being a slave. Not through my birth certificate, none of that, and don't call me, oh, don't tell me you're one of those sovereign citizens. It's not even in the Black's Law Dictionary, no. I'm not one of those. You have to learn everything that's written in black and white. Use it to your advantage. I appreciate it, and I'll be getting back with you, because I'm gonna start in on my county commissioners, holders of the purse.
And probably what we'll do, we'll send you an email.
Okay.
Just make sure, like with meeting with DA, if you're still wanting to do that.
Oh, yeah, I still wanna meet with him.
We'll send you an email and get just a little bit of information so that I know for absolute sure there's no misinterpretations.
Well, you'll probably see me here walking around, because I'm gonna be looking at these and going talking to people who wrote them.
Belinda, what is the main topic you want for the DA? Because you're gonna wanna know what topic you want to cover.
DA and stuff, the judges don't have oaths of office and such, or their attorneys and stuff.
So
Because
we'll send her an email with that, and then once you reply that we're on the same page, then we'll move forward.
okay, all right, thanks, y'all.
Do you see how the shim sham goes? Oh, they're gonna tell me how this bill works, and they gotta go through committee. I already know all that. You know, I let them go ahead and talk about that. Why? Because they think I'm really paying attention, but I'm really not. I'm thinking, dude, I know all this. La. I'm not listening. I'm thinking, yeah, I've told you about wording. I've told you a lot of things. Now we'll see what you do. But I'm going to start being up here, and I'm going to start reading all these bills, and every one of these people who wrote up these bills for that word salad, that language is wrong, that's going to hurt us. I'm going to put it in their face. Brenda, you going to come with me?
Yeah,
Okay.
I'll be here.
Let's do it.
Let's
Now we're
do
going
it.
to the post office.
Oh, yeah,
'cause we
let's
gotta
do it.
Deal with that stuff.
All right.
I got to tell him about that too. If they come out the door over there.
You want to try to catch him?
Some of it had my legal work for a prisoner down in Hill. He hasn't gotten, that was mailed February 5th. And then for the guy that passed away, that was my teacher, I had made a Christmas wreath and stuff to send to his partner. And it hadn't gotten there either, so I'm heading down to the post office. Ask them what days those mailboxes were robbed. So I thought I'd let you know. Got that going on too. I gotta go check it out.
All right.
All right.
I forgot about that. I was gonna tell him while we were in there. I forgot. Okay.
All right.